Hey, all things recap season 3, episode 3 in season 3. Micah is basically having his first day of public school, and he's at home right now, putting his wardrobe together. And Micah's mother, Charley, is basically telling Micah to keep up his grades. It's all about grades. It's not about the image. And he he says that he will basically do that. We find out that Nova has basically made a move too fast. Move too fast in the way of the editor, the new editor that is supposed to be helping her with the book. Tells her that she jumped the gun when it comes to the newspaper where she was working at, that she should have consulted her first before she made the decision to turn in her resignation. Now she finds out that all of the articles and everything that she basically wrote for the newspaper, she cannot use it for her book, and so that means that she's going to have to come up with something else, another idea, because she cannot use these articles. So Noble was a little bit disappointed to hear that the articles and all of the work that she's done over the years with the newspaper, that she cannot use that article. So that means that she is basically going to have to go back on the drawing. Now, if you remember, if you paid attention, Nova had a picture of Ida D. Wells basically on her bulletin board. And Ida D. Wells, if you know anything about her, she is a person who was a journal. She was an entrepreneur. She was very, very important to in her lifetime. And so she would always put stickers of the different ideas when she was getting ready to do her book. But now that she finds out that she cannot use any of the ideas for the book if it has something to do with the newspapers and the articles, so she decides to take down all of the stickers that she has on the bulletin board, and she leaves Ida D. Wells' picture on the bulletin board. So that means she's going to start all over again. Now, if you know that Ralph Angel basically back in episode 1 and 2, he was told by his parole officer that he basically needed to receive to start receiving a check and finding work so he would be able to continue to stay on his probation. And so we find out that he's still with the fishing rig. And we found out that the fishing rig that he's with, the people really, really enjoy him being there. And he was playing spades. So he stopped playing spades. And he told them that the owner, the lady owner, told him, well, let me cook some food and introduce you to my daughter. But he basically said, no, can't do that. I gotta go pick up my son. And so he went to go pick up his son. But people always, especially, always going to try to hook you up with someone, especially men, in cooking, trying to find, a partner. And, older people or people who think that you might need someone are always going to try to hook you up with someone. And so basically we have Hollywood. We know that Hollywood has basically ran into a lot of money. Instead of Hollywood going to the barbershop, now what's happening that the barbershop is coming to Hollywood. And so Hollywood is basically talking to the gentleman who was cutting his hair, and he was trying to get Hollywood to think about investing in his barbershop. Now, Aunt Violet came in and saw that basically Hollywood is overspending. It seems like his self, it's not his self-confidence, but he is just overspending. You know how it is when a lot of people get a lot of money, They, go wild, they spend the money, they, blow through it very quickly. And Envy was basically telling Hollywood, look, I need for you to, tread lightly with this money. You need to make sure that the type of investments that you're going to get in are going to be the correct one. So Hollywood is not, he's still excited, and he tells her that, well, let me go buy you some shoes, some red bottom shoes. And Violet's saying, look, I'm not really, I don't need no red bottoms. So basically, he did buy a gift for Aunt Violet, and he basically put a ring on it. The ring is very nice. It looks like he might have designed it himself. It's not your traditional rings. I'm kind of thinking that there's something that's going to cause Aunt Violet to kind of like put a break on this engagement. I don't know, but I'm thinking that she might kind of, I don't know, I think she might self-sabotage. That's what I'm thinking. Tell me what you think. Put it down in the comments. Then we're going to go back into the other part of town. And in the other part of town, um, Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel basically has been going buck wild when it comes to, different women coming to him, and he's having sex with them. He's just outright having, I call it senseless sex. Nothing, formal. These women are basically throwing themselves at Ralph Angel, and he's just, going for it. But this is one particular woman, I don't know her name, but she understands the type of person that Ralph Angel is. So when she comes, she tells Ralph Angel, well, where do you want me? Do you want me in the living room, the dining room, in the car, in the shed? She's basically gonna do it anywhere. So, but you women, this is, you don't need to throw yourself at men, especially if you throw yourself at men and you basically going to thinking that sex is going to get it, sex is going to get your partner who you're trying to partner with for a lifetime. This ain't it. Having sex ain't it. Sex is one part of the game, but if you just thinking that sex is going to get him to commit to you and you going to marry him and he going to marry you, that ain't happening. Just let you know, hey, watch who you're sleeping with, take your time to try to find a partner, and same thing with your men. Let me go on, trying to make this real fast. We also know that Ralph Angel, being that Ralph Angel is basically having these different people with different women, Blue is really having some issues. He's having issues as far as he's wetting the bed. And one night, Ralph Angel was in there and he heard, a fall. So he went and found out that it was Blue. And basically, Blue was having issues because he was trying to find sheets for his bed because he is wet. And so Ralph Angel asked him, well, why didn't you tell me something about this? And Blue said, I tried to, but you were very busy. And we know what he was very busy of. And it was very good how Ralph Angel really handled the situation. He told Blue that, situations like that happen sometimes, and it's okay. So Ralph Angel is really, really picking up it's really doing great with Blue, even though Blue is not his biological son, but Blue is the blood, and Blue is the sky, so that's his son. So we see Micah. Micah is back into school again, and it seems that I don't think that Michael is basically going to be with Kiki for long. The reason why I say that is because the young lady that was with, I'm going to call the young revolutionist, I believe she might have a crush on him. And earlier at school, Michael was there, and one of the little revolutionary boys was basically sitting on the table, and the security guard said, "Look, I need for you to get off the table." Little boy stood up, and he was being defiant, and I thought that he was going to try to start something, but he didn't. But as soon as the guard left, he went right back and sat on the table, and so we have that. Ralph Angel is basically um, in a position where he can now hire people or hire a couple of farmers. And he had this one particular young man that basically came and he was late. And so Ralph Angel was basically kind of upset due to the fact that this young man was late. So he really didn't interview him properly. He just told the young man, look, I'll take you in consideration. Basically, thank you for coming. And Ralph Angel just, basically let him go. And now we see that um, Ralph Angel and Charley. I like the relationship between Ralph Angel and Charley. um Ralph Angel and Nova was basically in the high yellow, and they were basically having lunch. And there was this woman who came in. I remember like last year when they were having the harvest and she had to, she couldn't harvest because there was something going on with her son. The son had got locked up and she needed, the money, so she really couldn't afford to, to grind with them. So she came in and to thank Ralph Angel due to the fact that they were able to get a better percentage. I think it was a 5 year low cost fee or something. And so Nova was basically there with Ralph Angel, and she began to ask questions as to how and why um, Sam Lander is no longer, hassling the farmers, because he had this tendency of hiring the rate, lowering the rate, and all of a sudden he's not messing with them anymore. And she began to question. She began to drill into Ralph Angel and ask him questions. What's going on? How come? How did you do this? Why did you do this? How did you get this? And so basically, Ralph Angel basically broke down and told Nova what was really going on. And so when Nova found out, she was like livid. She was not really having it, and she was totally upset. And of course, you know how the borderlines are. When it comes to having meetings, they're having meetings at their famous dinner table. And this is when Nova actually lit into Charley and said, well, what did you do for you to basically to get all these farmers to grind with you? And so Charley basically went on and said, look, I sold Queen Sugar to, Sam Landry, and I got 1%. And that's when Noble was like, you mean you sold our legacy? You gave our father's hard work for 1%? You gave everything that our father worked for 1%? Are you telling me that our legacy is worth 1%? And so this is when Charley was really digging in and said, look, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing all that I can. And the reason why I did that is because I am in to basically break the Landers down, to basically find out everything about them. And I am in to get revenge. She didn't say, she said a little bit more, but she's in it to get revenge. And that 1% will allow her to be able to look at the books, see exactly where these board people are, and to look into their finances, and to find out a little bit more about Sam and Jacob and those two family, and to basically infiltrate and figure it out. I'm hoping that this is going to work, because basically Nova's saying that this is basically rigged, and it is not going to work. But I believe that it is going to work. It's probably going to bite Charley in the ass, but it's going to work. Because prior before that, Charley had another black farmer who basically had to get out of the contract from grinding with them, because basically everybody's thinking that, they're grinding with a black owned, black operated, black woman. And basically what it all boils down is that Charley is an employee, just like everybody else. But the only thing about it is that she's the blackface. And this is what a lot of these companies do, especially when they find out that they can, especially white companies, when they can take a company and they know that black people will support it. If they see a blackface and see, this is where we made our downfall. We have to stop buying into the hoop. You know, white people know that black people spend, but black people, we're not really thinking that they're using us. They don't really care, but they care about our money. And so basically, Charley is doing it, but she's doing it for the right reason, but then she's doing it for the wrong reason. And Charley is very, very vindictive, and she's very, very self-centered, and she's very, very me, 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 me. And she's gonna be by herself, but we're gonna see. So basically everybody's telling her, and then that's when Hollywood was trying, and this is kind of like surprising to me that Charley would even say this to Hollywood. And then Charley said, well, this is all about family. And Hollywood was trying to say, well, the reason why I left the Legends is because, and Charley said, this is not about, you're not a part of the family. And that's when Envi went in and went livid. And then Charley was like, look, I'm done. I don't have nothing to say to you. And she was trying to, and this is when Micah came into the picture. Then Michael was basically listening to his mother as to, all the scheming and grinning and things that she's doing, and in order to get control. And so she told Michael, she says, Michael, let's go. And Michael's sitting there. It's like, yo, I'm not going nowhere. I was like, oh, Micah is basically coming into his own, guys. And he did not move. And so we noticed that Micah did not move. And being that he did not move, he basically went over to his auntie house, Auntie Nova's house, and he started to talk about his mother and saying how selfish she was, and how the things that she was doing behind the family's back, by not letting them know exactly what was going on. So he was a little bit upset about that. And so this is when Nova says, don't talk about your mother, because your mother does things differently than I do. And so this is when Micah said, well, yeah, but she's nowhere like you. And so Nova says, no, don't do that. But then Michael went back and said, well, basically you could use your platform, to basically for your book, and you could do something. You could write about the black farmers and everything. And then this when it puts a light bulb into into Nova's mind. And so prior before that, I jumped a little bit, but prior before that, when everybody was at the table, and Hollywood was basically dressed up. And the reason why they was dressed up is because they were getting ready to go to a high school reunion. And the reunion was, I think, 1993. So that's been about maybe 5 years. We're not going to get too much into it. Long story short, Hollywood went to the Envi, they went to the high school reunion. Hollywood meets his childhood sweetheart. Childhood sweetheart does not realize that Hollywood is engaged to an older woman. And so the young woman who was attracted and who used to like Hollywood saying to Envi, saying that, oh, I know who you are. I remember you. You're the mother. And then that's when Hollywood gets in it and say, no, this is my fiance. This is my, and She was like surprised at the fact that Hollywood was with an older woman. Now, also, Aunt Vi was basically having an anxiety attack. The reason why she was having and I believe that she was having an anxiety attack is because one, about a week ago, she just finished a huge contract, at the grocery store, and she kind of sort of had a meltdown there. And then two, here comes this younger woman, talking about her being the mother of Hollywood, and so that kind of sort of put her to the loop. So she retreated to the swimming pool, and she was chilling in Hollywood. Came and said, asked if are you ready to go? Because Hollywood said, look, I'm all talked out. I don't have nothing else, to talk about. I'm all talked out. Now we get back, and we also um go to a scene where is that we meet the young fellow again, where Ralph Angel re-interviewed the guy again, and I'm going through it. He hires the guy, and so he tells the guy, he says, "Look, be there bright and early." Then all of a sudden, we see that Blue. We see Blue, and we see Darla. But before I get into that, we see this little scene that I basically kind of like, and it seems that the relationship of the older sibling and the young sibling has basically, I want to say, joined forces. And right now, the family is not really feeling the older sibling, but the younger one, and we're talking about Ralph Angel and Charley, is feeling Charley because he basically told Charley, look, don't worry about it. Right now they can't see the big picture, but Ralph Angel says, I can see the big picture. I know it's gonna work. And he really, really consoled her. And because she was like really down due to the fact that Micah did not follow her after the family had the big blowout, because Michael is basically doing his thing. And Charley and Ralph Angel are really, really bonding. They're really, really getting to be really tight. It's basically because if this doesn't work, Ralph Angel has a lot to lose also. But I'm kind of concerned. The reason why I'm kind of concerned is that we know that last year, even though um Ralph Angel is working a job, and not only is he doing the sugarcane, but I don't know if you all noticed this, writers, that he's also doing soybeans. So he also had a business in soybeans. So I'm wondering which part of that land. I know that the sugarcane Charley started, she using her own money, but the um the soybeans. I'm kind of trying to figure out, is the help for the soybean crop that's coming back up again, or is it the candy, or is it both of them? You guys write it down in the comments, and writers, make it a little bit clear about that soybean. What's going on with the soybean? Okay, now let's get back to um uh Ralph Angel. And Dollar has basically been calling Ralph Angel, and Ralph Angel really doesn't have anything. He just don't want to do it. He just don't want to hear what Dollar has to say. So since he didn't want to do it, guess what? Dollar pops back up. Dollar pops back up. Blue comes out the house running, hollering, "Mommy, mommy!" And let me tell you guys, Dollar is looking good. She looks like she's been, doing her program, doing her AA1. She's looking good. Looks like she might have a job. We don't know. But I will tell you this. The look on Ralph Angel's face was very pleasant. If you really looked at him real good, he was very, very pleasant due to the fact that he actually really loves Darla, but he's still upset with her. And that's when it goes off. Darla is coming back to check on her son, and I guess she's coming back to see, what's going on, what they can do, or how they can work things out. Now, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a couple of things. One, I don't think that Kiki and Micah is going to be together too long. I don't think so. Two, I'm thinking that, like Ralph Angel told her in last episode, don't lose yourself, trying to get, revenge. And I think what's going to happen, she's going to lose herself and she's going to fall in love with somebody. I don't know, she's going to fall in love with Jacob, or she's going to fall in love with the little hot tamale that came on the scene when the truck broke down. We don't know. When it comes to Nova, I'm thinking that Nova is going to basically do a couple of things. I think she's going to follow the little revolutionary kids, and she's going to see what they're all about, but she can't really use that article is because the newspaper chopped it down. So I think she's not going to follow, the black farmers, and she's going to follow the dot with all of the information that Charley is going to be finding out. And I think this is where the book is going to evolve around the two families, Jacob and and Sam, the two family, no, actually the three family. And the reason why I say that is because she had the picture of Ida D. Wells. And when Michael mentioned that the fact that perhaps maybe she could do something about the black farmers, so this is when she began to come up with different ideas, and she had all kinds of ideas. And one of the ones that I kind of looked at, that one of us said that the legacy, because remember, Noble was upset due to the fact that Charlie gave 1%, took 1% for for a legacy that was more. So this episode was very good, and I'm gonna tell you, click subscribe, comment, click subscribe. This is Auntie Cheryl with your recap and review of episode 2 and episode 3 and season 3. Until next Wednesday, I will see you. I'm also doing polls. Take care, and I'm out.